Andrew Stanton, the director behind the John Carter movie, recently gave us a peek into what could have been if the sequels had come to fruition. Remember that flick? Even though it didn't exactly light up the box office, it had a certain charm and potential for more adventures on Mars. But alas, it suffered from the same fate as a confusingly marketed blockbuster. Stanton recently took to Twitter to share some title logo treatments for the hypothetical second and third films in the series. He seemed pretty enthusiastic about the whole thing, mentioning big plans and even bigger ones for the sequels. In a report by The Wrap, which delved into the production history of John Carter on its 10-year anniversary, director Andrew Stanton shared some intriguing details about the planned sequel that never materialized. Stanton revealed that the sequel would have opened with a narration, a recurring motif throughout the series, but this time it would have been from the perspective of Deja, played by Lynn Collins, recounting the story to her and John Carter's, played by Taylor Kitsch, son. The plot would have revolved around their son being kidnapped, prompting John Carter's return to Mars after the events of the first film. Stanton explained, "I love the idea of you were going to open with a prologue. It was going to be that every movie had a different character saying the prologue. The first one is Willem as Tars. The second one's prologue narration was going to be Deja, and it was going to give anybody that hadn't seen the first movie a little precursor of the story that got you to this movie." He further described the sequence, detailing how it would begin with Deja telling the story to her baby, revealing the child's connection to the tale being told. However, the touching moment takes a dark turn when it's revealed that the baby is actually kidnapped by the shape-shifting villain Matai Shang. Stanton continued, and then it was going to go on to the opening credits. The next image after the opening credits was going to be Carter lying in his funeral suit in the middle of the desert, just looking like a dead body in a wake and just waking up. These revelations provide a glimpse into the ambitious plans for the sequel, which unfortunately never came to fruition. It's a bummer, really. You can tell Stanton poured his heart into John Carter, and it's a shame we'll never likely get to see where he wanted to take the story. Oh well, such is the unpredictable world of Hollywood. Let's face it, every industry has its share of flops, and John Carter takes the cake for cinematic misfires. Despite being a solid film that stays true to Edgar Rice Burroughs' vision, it tanked hard at the box office. It's a shame because it deserved better recognition, especially in a time when 19th century sci-fi adaptations were all the rage. So what went wrong with John Carter? Well, it wasn't plagued by behind-the-scenes drama or creative clashes. Nope, its downfall was simply failing to attract enough viewers despite its hefty production budget. While it's gained a bit of a cult following, especially among die-hard Burroughs fans, that particular adaptation seems like a lost cause now. But hey, don't lose hope just yet. A fresh version of John Carter could be just what the doctor ordered, especially in a time when many beloved franchises are in need of a revamp. And here's the kicker. There's a whole world of untapped potential in the steampunk and similar subgenres. With the likes of Star Wars and Star Trek dominating the sci-fi scene, there's a gap for something a bit more retro and adventurous. A new take on John Carter could be the breath of fresh air that genre needs, offering up new ideas and exciting storytelling opportunities. The John Carter stories, penned by Edgar Rice Burroughs, are true pioneers of modern science fiction. Picture this. It's 1912, and Burroughs' debut novel, A Princess of Mars, is captivating readers in serialized form. Transported to the Red Planet, readers are introduced to a dying civilization, incredible creatures, and mind-blowing technology. Enter our hero, John Carter, who teams up with the Tharks, those green-skinned four-armed warriors, and gets embroiled in the conflicts of the Red Martians. What makes these stories stand out is their blend of westerns, war tales, and classic sci-fi, creating a rich alternate universe known as pulp space opera. Carter himself, with his superhuman abilities in Mars's lower gravity, laid the groundwork for future comic book superheroes like Superman. But here is where it gets really interesting. Burroughs' influence didn't stop there. Visionaries like Carl Sagan, Ray Bradbury, Frank Herbert, and Arthur C. Clarke all credited his work as a major inspiration. The Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers serials of the 1930s, yep, they owe a debt to Burroughs too, shaping the imaginations of filmmakers for generations. And speaking of filmmakers, heavy hitters like James Cameron openly acknowledged John Carter's impact on their own creations. Take Avatar, for example, where an Earthling finds purpose on a new world, a narrative trope straight out of Burroughs' playbook. Even George Lucas, the mastermind behind Star Wars, was influenced by these stories. But despite having a cool plot, great acting, and a genuine love for Burroughs' tales, it totally flopped at the box office. Why? Well, blame it on the marketing team. Seriously, they messed up big time. The trailers made the movie look like some dull love story set in a desert, completely ignoring all the action and special effects. Plus, they didn't even mention that the guy behind it was the same genius who gave us Pixar classics like WALL-E and Finding Nemo. And get this, they even took Mars out of the title. Probably because they were scared it would remind people of other failed Mars movies. The biggest blunder of all was how the trailers totally missed the mark on John Carter's place in pop culture. They made him seem like just another generic hero in a sea of them, when in reality he's a major player in the history of sci-fi. The PR team tried to fix things by adding more action scenes and changing up the music, but they still missed the point. They never highlighted Burroughs' influence or the significance of his stories, which was a huge missed opportunity. Imagine if they had just included a few clips of big names like George Lucas or James Cameron talking about how Burroughs inspired them. It could have piqued the interest of newcomers and shown them where the roots of modern sci-fi blockbusters lie. But by the time they realized their mistake, it was too late. John Carter was already dead in the water when it hit theaters, mostly due to audience apathy rather than any fault of the filmmakers. Imagine a revamped version of Carter's adventures on Mars, brought to life with today's technology and a fresh perspective. Just look at what Denis Villeneuve did with Dune. Despite previous attempts that didn't quite hit the mark, his recent adaptation proved that a fresh take on a literary classic can find success. John Carter has that same potential, it just needs the right care and planning. Well, that's it for today. For now, make sure that you like our video. Please share your views in the comments section with us. Subscribe to the channel to get updated, and do not forget to hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Thanks for watching the video. See you at the next one.